back aisle. Like, this is where everyone comes and sneaks out of the auditorium.
It is. This is where you guys take a little bit of a break.
Tell us about we're fan-based, and all of our questions today came from your fans.
Come from fans on Twitter and things like that. We're a fan.
Sorry, what was that?
We're Variety Radio Online, and we took our questions from Twitter and fan base. We do interviews and recap shows, and on our webpage and radio online. So we went to the fans and asked them what they'd like to hear. So we pulled some of those questions.
Oh, awesome!
So yeah. First, of course, we would love to know is what do you think about Dragon Con?
First of all, the best thing about coming to Dragon Con is it's Atlanta, and this is the first time I've ever been south, to the south. And I was in Philadelphia just before I came down here, and the Liberty Bell was there, and now I'm right down in the heartlands of all this historic part of American history, and there's the Civil and Human Rights Museum down here, and it's for me, I really like culture. I really like looking at society as a place of historic growth, and Atlanta's just a really fascinating city to be in.
Yeah.
But and this Dragon Con is the biggest event in the country in terms of crowd support. Who come along and want to mix it with the celebrities.
Yeah, it definitely has been a fan base con. For people who in different genres, and it definitely has developed into unique cons. So thank you for coming. First of all, so we're going to back up a little bit into. We'd like to step back to The Hobbit a little bit. One question was about your costuming. How intense and time consuming was that? Because that's always a beautiful costume there.
Well, first of all, I have to say there's no costume. When I play Arzog is purely a motion capture character. Exactly the same as Andy Serkis.
Okay.
Andy Serkis playing Gollum. You wear a suit that has dots, which are basically mapping locator markers, so that when you translate it to a computer, it can see your skeleton, or you get little dots on your face. And so if I do an expression, all the curves and all the cheekbones rising, or the teeth showing, or the eyes squinting, or getting sad, or whatever, it reads all of that, so that when you're absorbed into the computer, it'll take the skin of Arzog and just basically pull it over my body. So the costume is actually a completely CGI costume.
Right.
However, all of the motion, all of the expression, and the voice is mine.
Was it intense to do that type performance versus, behind the camera and it's you?
The most complicated part about doing motion capture is that you're being filmed, or you're being recorded after the fact that the film has been made. So they'll shoot all of the battle scenes with the actors, and have done that months beforehand, and then you'll come into a studio after Peter's decided in the editing suite what the frames are, and then they'll decide where your character is going to appear on that frame, and then film you to be put on top of that frame. Okay, so it's pretty much been edited down by the time you get to do your job. So I never get to meet any of the actors. I'm just told that Thorin Oakenshield and Gandalf and all the dwarves are up a big tree, and I'm going to wag down the bottom saying, let's get them, when you're going through that process, I've just got Peter Jackson saying, okay, Thorin Oakenshield standing up and he's staring at you now, and he's walking down the tree and he's coming towards you, and there's nothing there, and I'm just having to create the connection, and that's tricky, because you've got to know what doing those connections is like, beforehand. But I've just come off 4 years of Spartacus, where Crixus's connection to characters was quite intense, so it's sort of built into me. So with that particular take on things, I guess they went to the right person, because I was coming fresh off a show where that intensity was there. I think that's why they cast me.
And speaking of Spartacus, one of the fan questions was one moment that stands out to you from Spartacus that was either intense or a favorite episode or a favorite scene, because it was always intense. But anything stands out to you in Spartacus?
Well, when we unfortunately lost Andy Whitfield from the show initially, before he actually succumbed to the cancer. They went out and they found Liam McIntyre to play the role of Spartacus, and but also they changed the Navia rollover from Leslie Ann Brandt to Cynthia Dye Robinson, and when Cynthia came in and Liam came in, it was like both the people that I was used to speaking to, who I had certain energy exchange with, were different people. It was different actors, and so there was a sort of a nestling period, I guess, for about several episodes where, as actors, we were just trying to get the feel, But I'd already, I was already sunk into the role of Crixus. So I just gave them what I'd been giving before in other performances, and they just kind of had to tune in and find the, to find the fit. You know what I mean? So those relationships did change in ways, because Andy Whitfield had completely his own brilliant, beautiful, compassionate, very, very charismatic, yet hugely, his ability to underplay a scene was quite amazing, And poor Liam's dragged into play Spartacus in the middle of this whole rollicking, we've killed them all, and we're now the thing, he's got to be this big leader. For him to actually hit those notes straight away, it took Liam a little bit of time to take the shape, but he did an incredible job. Yet, by that time Andy Whitfield would have, had Andy had gone that journey, then he would have been this person who'd been through 2 seasons and had this incredible gravitas already.
Right. It would have grown differently.
Yeah. Liam had to find that. So that was the toughest thing for me was some of those major characters had changed at that point in time.
Yeah. Thank you. Congratulations on being picked up to with Arrow. We're very excited about that. And being Slade, they, for me as a comic book reader, automatically knew Slade was a bad guy, as Deathstroke, Bad guy. Evil, sorry.
No, not even evil. Slade is a good guy.
So
Slade
I think they're
a good guy. They're writing him as a good guy.
They are writing him as a good guy, and so I was fixing to say they've teased us with all the different. Well, that's what I was going to say. Is for us, we're having to rethink, and I think they've done a great job for people in the past who have read Arrow. Done a great job of turning you into what is going to happen with your character, and so. How has it been joining this cast and crew, working with Stephen and everything in Vancouver?
You know what? Well, I met Stephen because Stephen actually came and was one of the last 3 people to screen test for Spartacus. So I met him in New Zealand. That role, went to Liam McIntyre, but Stephen Amell is the perfect Arrow, and so it's funny how the wheels turned, and I've sort of found myself in a show with him because I'd met him through that process. But it's wonderful working with Steve. Steve's a very thoughtful, hugely promising young actor, great looking guy. We're just going from strength to strength, in the show, and I feel that my place next to him as Slade Wilson is, they're constantly sort of elaborating on some of the good comical tones that goes on with our characters in terms of the people that we are, rather than just the characters. The writers sort of said to me, Manu, we really love that when the camera turns off, you joke around with the crew. We really like that sense of humor. Can we bring some of that into the actual role play? And so we're I love that they're wanting to humanize the characters. And I find that doing that, I affect Stephen in a way as well. that has made us quite good buddies on the show, both through characterization and through just having some fun on set.
So far, what's your favorite episode?
I really liked the episode when I was sitting around the fireplace with Oliver, explaining to him the background, a little bit of background on Slade, because just basically there was no background on Slade, so he was just a 2-dimensional character, and in that one scene he kind of gave up some information about himself that was really the only kind of recall he did on his life during the whole first season.
Right.
So I found that just that little window important to me as an actor, because I get some kind of fodder in order to think that this guy's more than just in that present time on the island, that something belongs to him from time past.
Well, we're very excited at where it's headed and where you're possibly going to play a role in. And I know you can't really give us any spoilers, but we know you're around for a little bit longer. So we're very excited about that. And thank you again for coming to Dragon Con and taking a few minutes with us. I know you have an event to get to, and so we don't want to take you from that.
Oh,
but it's been great having you back
Thank
here.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.